in general don't have a stroke. Although okay, I know we're recording and I know we're live. Also, this is going to be one of those silly things, but we were talking about, I wasn't able to spell recommendations. So I said, oh, I might be having a stroke. I am one of those people that every once in a while, when something weird goes on with my head, I'm like, okay, can I lift both my arms up?
I'm getting more and more that way. I was last week, there were things on Jeopardy that I should have known or did know, but couldn't come up with like that. I'm like, it may be all gone. It's going.
This is it. I'll look in the mirror and stick my tongue out. I do the arm test every once in a while. Well, because Darcy, who's on here, I think she watches sometimes, and I don't want to give away, but it's like she had a health scare, and it's just like you've got to be on that stuff.
Yeah, but you don't want to be too, I don't want to be cavalier about it. If there's really nothing wrong. Yeah.
Right. I don't want to be cavalier about it, but there is, you gotta of a certain age.
Yeah. If something seems amiss, you need to go see your doctor.
Bingo. Or call that 911. I'm always a 911 person. Just come get me.
I don't think Jeopardy is I don't think that I should be using to.
Yeah, that means more like go take some of that Prevagen or whatever that brain stuff is. You need that for
okay. Study some encyclopedias.
There you go. I've been reading like a maniac. I've read so many. I'm so mad. Gabe, where are you? I want to talk about his book. My husband. Oh my God.
Oh, I saw that you posted about that. Yeah.
Okay. It's so good. So anyways, read that. I mean, I've just got a stack of them going. Read Jessamine Ward's new one. Shannon, wherever you are. That's going to be, I mean, that's just give the awards.
That's a fall book.
Just put the award. Yeah, that's October. Just sign up the awards.
New fiction or new nonfiction?
New for Jessamine, new fiction called Descend With Us. Descend With Us? I think. Yeah.
I never remember book titles.
I know. And it's like, I'm getting more. Well, let's not talk about that. Okay. It's going to go. We don't want to go back down that rabbit hole. Okay. So it will go Tom, Julia, Andrea. I will set the screen share for you, Andrea, if you need that. Might have to go in the background and worry about Tom. Steve said he was coming. He's not here. Gotta worry about everybody. So
I know.
I know. All right. Okay, Tom, what do you got for us?
Jump in. Okay. So, Baking Yesteryear. This is really fun. B. Dylan Hollis that's him right there on the cover. So traditionally, I don't have a lot of cookbooks. That's not something my part of PRH does. But when we do, usually they're, traditional cookbooks are for people that are in restaurants or, on the Food Network. But not anymore. I mean, not only that anymore, because TikTok and I guess YouTube Shorts I'm learning about, same as TikTok maybe or similar, are producing huge stars in this world. And he has the most brilliant idea for TikTok to become TikTok famous. The subtitle is The Best Recipes from the 1900s to the 1980s. So he's finding recipes from the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, baking them, making them, and then reacting to them in real time in his videos. They are hilarious. They're fun. He's obviously has a great personality for it. But it's just such and it reflects all of the recipes, as you'll see, reflect America of that time period, the recipes themselves. So they're forgotten now in many cases, or they've been adapted so many times. We're making them similar things, but we don't know where they came from. So it's a fantastic cookbook. So DK has cornered the market on these kind of authors. So let me show you a few. This is pork cake from the 1910s, I think. Pork cake. Yeah.
Okay, you're not selling me yet.
I know, but it's interesting. I'm going to show you weird stuff like this. That's what they were using for fat, I guess, was pork. And apparently,
but they look like there was some chocolate or something in there. So tell me that there's chocolate or something in there. Maybe I'll buy it.
I mean, chocolate with bacon grease is a Not a bad combo.
Not a bad comeback. Calling it
Yeah.
pork cake and
I
just like
know.
leaving it there. It's like, I don't know.
That was the 1910s. They didn't know about marketing at that point. How about from the I mean, I'm fascinated by the 1970s. So potato chip cookies, which I think I kind of remember. Right? No?
There was a woman I worked with at Book Soup that used to make those and bring them, and they are great. Potato
Yeah.
chip
I bet
cookies
they
are amazing.
Yeah.
I don't remember them, but they sound good because the
Sounds
salty
really
and
good.
the sweet.
And
Yeah.
the crunch, right?
And the crunch. I can go for that.
Okay.
I don't remember them though.
Another one from the 1970s, the Robert Redford. This is an icebox cake, but America was in love with Robert Redford in that period.
Yes,
And then
we
the
were.
last one of the good recipes to show you is the Watergate cake, which I presented this last week and people knew this cake. I did not know. And I love his pictures, but I didn't know of the Watergate cake. But
I don't
What's in it?
it's got, well, the main thing to know about it is that there's the cover up frosting. I mean, it's a cake, but the cover up frosting, it's as much a joke and reflection of the period, but nothing unusual. It's got, well,
Amanda said, are there secret ingredients?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
there should be, but and maybe
It's all recorded.
the cake has 7-Up or Sprite. Is that
Okay.
weird?
No.
Yeah.
I've heard of like there's Coca-Cola cakes that were from the 70s too.
Right. And then of course a lot of I'm not showing one right now, but there's a lot of Jell-O in these recipes. Yeah. Jell-O became a very common ingredient. And then the very end, so those are all good. Those are all ones that he approved of. But then the very, very back, these are the ones that, well, here's a SpaghettiOs Jell-O ring.
Oh my God.
I know. These do not get his seal of approval. My favorite, because I hate the word, he calls them the worst of the worst. There's a pickle, I hate pickle cheesecake.
No, that's sick and wrong.
I know. But anyway, it's really fun. Baking Yesteryear. Go watch the videos. You'll be charmed. And the book is out tomorrow.
I love it.
The best on those videos. I definitely follow this man on TikTok. The best is when he's like, it's called like mayonnaise cake or something, and he's like, what are we doing? And then he bites into it and he's like, this is amazing.
Right, I know.
It's like the best ever. You're just like, this dude got me through lockdown. Like that's when he kind of like started,
yeah, right,
like getting really well known, and he would just like bake this stuff and you were just like, oh my God, what is that called? Like pork loaf or whatever, and you're like, what is this man making? And then he would bite into it and be like, this is incredible.
I wish that I had found him during lockdown, because it would have helped to get me through, but I didn't know until
It was very good.
I'm out of the loop when it comes to
Well,
it.
Beth Johnson's on here saying it'd be a great thing to use for a theme party. Like
Oh, my
everybody
God,
brings
fantastic.
out.
Totally.
That
That's
would be
a very good idea.
Really fun idea for a holiday party, especially. Oh my God. Okay, wait a minute. Diane's on here saying Pittsburgh just had a Picklesburg festival. Think Heinz Pickles. Maybe submit a pickle cake there. Oh.
Probably so. Pickled cheesecake. I will also say this is going to be, I think, a #1 bestseller. It's the most pre-ordered cookbook in the history of Penguin Random House.
You've got to
That's
be
the
kidding
power
me.
of TikTok.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
wow.
pay attention.
Penguin Random House.
Yeah.
Not just Penguin.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So you've got Ina Garden.
Exactly.
Wow.
The thing that
I didn't want to name names, but yes.
the thing about
Sorry,
that
I have no filter. If there's nothing that you're gonna get out of this from watching me,
This is
for
what
any of
I've been
these
told,
years,
and I do believe it is extraordinary the number of pre-orders they have.
wow, that's like you said, the power of TikTok, and it's just what I love about it is going back to the original recipes though, because those are lost, and it's hard to find some of those that were the traditional.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and because we're book people and print people, like I love seeing him pull out this old magazine or an old book that I'm sure that's his life now, is finding these old.
I have my mother's Betty Crocker cookbook that she got in like 1950 50 something. It's up in my cupboard.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff is like, they have the best mac and cheese recipe.
Mm.
You follow that?
Yeah, I have a bunch of old cookbooks around here, like that from my grandmother, like early editions of The Joy of Cooking, but other stuff like regional stuff from Pennsylvania.
Oh
And
yeah.
they like, I look at those recipes and like our palates have changed so much from like the 1910s and 1920s. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, just the ingredients that we have available to us too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
and
thing,
just
too.
like how much sugar and fat they're putting into, like, you know, they're using lard a lot and not,
Yeah.
you know, butter or oil or whatever. And but it's just like, it's unbelievable the amounts of sugar, and you're like,
Yes.
I mean, it's changed. I mean, our
Right.
palates have changed.
So Beth's on here, Tom, that she's going to make the Watergate cake for election night.
Oh, that's
Amazing.
great.
I love
Perfect.
that.
I love his description. I'm sorry, Julie, back to the pork cake. He says, you don't taste the pork so much as you gently, perhaps warily, feel its presence.
Oh my God.
That's, I
I'll
mean,
be
like
making
you said,
cocktails on election night, okay? Mini
Yeah.
cocktails.
I'm just gonna I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not, I will be probably, never mind, we go.
Yeah.
Julia, save me. Let's have a good
Well,
book.
along the lines of what Julie was just about to start talking about, I have Parachute Women, Marianne Faithfull, Marcia Hunt, Bianca Jagger, Anita Pallenberg, and the women behind the Rolling Stones. So this is a book, I mean, I don't know that I need to say much more than what the subtitle says, but looks at these women like Marianne Faithfull, Anita Pallenberg, all these women who were involved with the Stones, mostly romantically and sometimes with a few of them, but sort of what their influence in the Rolling Stones was. And I think that's a thing that gets overlooked a lot. I was raised by a mother who, when I was 14, took me to a Rolling Stones concert because she would not have a daughter who had not seen them live. And so
Love that.
and so I think a lot of people from, you know, this is a generation above mine, but like that don't know a lot of this history of who these women were and what the influence were. There may be names that you've heard. I think my generation knows nothing about them. So like, you know, what their music is, what they were doing, because these are all people who were creative and doing creative things and pursuing creative interests at the time and sort of influencing Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and all these dudes in the Stones. And then also there was lots of juicy drama. And so, you know, who doesn't love that? So this is Parachute Women. It's getting great reviews. People are really, really loving it and sort of loving these behind the scenes stories that I think people are much more eager to tell now that it's like been a while. So.
Well, in the 70s, I mean, I guess there's bad stuff that goes on now, but there was just something super delicious about how bad everybody was in the 70s. I mean, it was just, I mean, I don't, and the 60s, the 60s and 70s, but the 70s, I don't know, seemed to have a debauchery to it that the 60s really didn't have so much. I mean, I guess it did, but the 70s just, okay, I don't know if anybody watched the 1971 music thing that I was telling y'all about.
Still need to do it. Thank you. Adding it to my.
Add that to the list, because I tell you what, there's a whole thing on Keith Richards and when he was in France.
Oh my God.
It's just like,
that guy is, I can't believe he's still alive.
I know.
Oh, I saw something about him. I saw this great meme, and I'm gonna mess it up, so don't quote me on it, but it was something that it was like Willie Nelson, like talking about the youth of America needing to like do something so that there's a future for him and Keith Richards. It's like, it's those are gonna be the two that are gonna survive
Exactly.
everything. But yeah, that book looks really good. Julia.
That's so cool. I mean, like Marianne Faithfull, I mean, she's still making records, and her 21st century records are incredible. Okay.
They're great.
Like amazing.
Yeah.
So
truly.
It's so cool that this book is now in the world, and I'm envious that you get to talk about it.
Awesome. Well, speaking of, Andrea, what are you going to talk about?
I'm going to talk about Wednesdays at 1. This is
okay.
yeah, this is from Sandra Miller. And this is from Zibby Books, and there's copies of the trade paper edition of this at Warwick's right now, and it's basically a psychological thriller. A renowned clinical psychologist begins to question his own life and sanity as a mysterious woman arrives in his office each week for a session without an appointment or any notice at all. And so ensues this really interesting psychological thriller. The author wrote an award-winning book called Trove. So you might know about Sandra A. Miller. And it's getting good early, it's like getting good early review attention, good blurbs from authors, booksellers are liking it. And how can you not like this kind of structure where every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, this mysterious person shows up to really freak out your protagonist? And
well, because I mean, this was one of the books, because I would say I was reading like crazy, and this was one that was kind of on my little short list, but I ran out of time.
Cool.
She knows about him, right?
Yeah. It's really, I mean, how could it not freak you out, especially because you're the one who's used to like sort of like shepherding people through their neuroses.
Right.
You know? And then suddenly this guy just does not know who this woman is. And it just like the tension builds, and I think this is a great summer read, especially in trade paper. It's easy to pick up. It's, you know, and also something that you can hand to somebody if you're visiting somebody's house this summer or early fall. So as just a little hostess gifts, or a host or hostess gift. And I think this is just going to do well, like for anybody who's interested in this genre. Easy to read and fun. So
yeah, I love the whole premise. That's why it ended up on my short list, because I was like, oh my God, that'd be so great.
Yeah, it's good. And I cannot see how this could not become like a TV series, you know, like a limited series or something like that.
For sure.
Each Wednesday at 1 is one episode.
Right.
Like totally built for that.
Completely. All right, Tom, what's your next book?
All right, my next book is summer reading, quintessential from Viking, Sherry LaPena's Everyone Here Is Lying. So she started off with A Couple Next Door, and now we get a book a year from her. She's wasn't here. It's a different one of these that I do, where we were talking about the word reliable. Like sometimes you need authors who are reliable year after year after year. And Sherry LaPena delivers that. So in the new book, it's about a suburban place called Stanhope, where everyone is, you know, it's a safe neighborhood, great place for families. So you know something is going to go terribly wrong. The main character is a family. Oh, the worst thing you can be in one of these is a family man. He's having an affair. The affair ends just as the book opens. He comes home. His 9-year-old daughter is there. He takes out his temper on her, and then she disappears. So it's about what happens after that, and how how could you feel safe in Stanhope after a 9-year-old disappears? You've got a family man on the edge. So it's, as with all of her books, twists, turns, surprises. I don't think you necessarily have to like her characters, but you just want to have a fun ride all the way through, right to the very end, and she delivers, you know, with every book. So Sherry LaPena's Everyone Here Is Lying.
My blurb partner, that Pam, who's in Minneapolis, she's a huge fan of this, and she just says that it's one of those that you sit down and one read. It's just so good. Oh, is there a Carol? It might be Carol. I can't remember, but one of them just like all about this book.
Right, right. And we all need books like this time
Yeah.
of year.
Exactly. Just that great book that, and you know me and mysteries, but it's good to have one that has like
Yes, yes. Well, and I always point out whenever I have a Pam Dorman book, she's the editor of the Thursday Murder Club, so many Warwick's favorites. And so she discovered Cherry LaPena.
Okay. There we go. All right, Julia.
Okay. This one is less fun, but maybe more necessary. This is called The Heat Will Kill You First, Life and Death on a Scorched Planet. So I don't care where you are in the US right now, unless maybe you're in San Francisco, that it is hot and it doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. And this book is all about that. Yes, it's about climate change. It's about how that's the thing that's going to be what we're dealing with. Sure, the floods and the wildfires and the things come from climate change, but the heat is what's really going to be the problem. It has been everywhere. He has been on all of the big cable news media, reviews, and a bunch of different outlets. Everyone is like loving this book insofar as that it's well done, but also terrifying. So if you need to like scare yourself into a little bit of reality for a second, after you finish reading Tom's book, or Andrea's book, I got you covered. The Heat Will Kill You First by Jeff Goodell. Yeah, it's a seriously well done and terrifying book.
Well, and that's the thing that I watched some really good stuff this weekend, just on different news things, and we're talking the governor of Washington State. He said, he's like, the earth is screaming at us.
Yeah,
right now. I mean, the earth is literally screaming at us right now. But unfortunately, I mean, we got to do what we can do, but we got to get the whole world, and there's some very big countries that aren't on board with this. And that's
corporations and some big corporations. Yeah.
We could have a capitalism talk that would probably just like, let's have a whole other thing on that. And
yeah. Sorry.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on that one.
Yeah, that's an important book. I heard him interviewed on a podcast, and it's it is very it's chilling stuff, but it has to be talked about, and the narrative threads. I mean, he's a really good writer too. So
no, I just think it's important. Those books have to be read. They got to get them out there. Yep. All right, Andrea.
Back to fiction. I wanted to talk about The Anniversary by Stephanie Bishop. This is from Grove Press, their trade paper original imprint, Black Cat. So this is another good beach read for literary fiction lovers. Basically, it's just a really smart and seductive novel about and it's psychological suspense again, and it's about a rising star in the writers in the publishing world, in the writers world, who has an older husband who's already has an established career as a film director. They go on a cruise for their anniversary, and he disappears. And as the book moves through all of the different sections, you start to realize that our protagonist, the writer, is pretty unreliable for sure. And we're not like, suddenly we're like, like, what does she have to do with this disappearance, etc. And it also acts as an amazing skewering of the publishing industry, because she's in the back and forth conversations with her editor and agent, and it's delightful for all of the backstory there about publishing for sure. It also, like, you know, does like follow the course of what it means to be a creative person in a partnership with another creative person at different points in your career, and what kind of tensions that can cause in the relationship. So it's got a lot going for it, and a lot going on. You can read it as a straight go ahead, you know, suspenseful, like psychological thriller. But you can also look at the tensions between spouses, like, you know, a man and a woman's spouse, and the creative tensions that are caused, you know, in a relationship where they're at two different points in their life. That's really great. Let me see who. Virginia Fito, author of Mrs. March, says, the dread that slowly creeps into your bones while reading The Anniversary is difficult to shake off, yet you cannot look away. I reveled in every bit of this astute, compelling psychological novel. It's really well done, but it's also like, I laughed a lot at like all of the sort of publishing behind the scenes hijinks stuff. So great little book, and go out and pick up a copy at Warwick's today.
I love it. That's like, because I was reading, speaking of buying copies from Warwick, so I'm reading the, no, it's not going to show up. It's a book called Our Strangers by Lydia Davis. So she's doing
great.
something, she's so good, right? And this is all just like her just snippet short stories, but like some of them are like 2 sentences, but you get this whole picture just within those 2 sentences. It's incredible.
She's
It's
amazing.
not coming out till October, but she, which I love, is not going to let this be sold on Amazon. It is only going to be sold on bookshop.org and indie channels.
Yeah. She's cool. She's
Kind of
very
love that.
cool.
Wow. Oh,
And it's
yeah.
not like she's a millionaire, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
She's,
And
you
can
know,
afford it,
she's
yeah.
not, you know, she's not in that upper echelon, like
Right.
the
Well,
Pattersons of the world or
The
whatever.
not to name the names, but the millionaires wouldn't allow that. They would not be interested in doing that. They
No.
would be-
No, but that's, I mean, I was just like, so I'm going to be talking about that book from here till October, because I just think that it's like so cool that she's doing
That's
it.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
on top of that, though, and you guys, I've talked about this before, I'm not the big short story reader, but I've come to appreciate them more in looking at them as sort of that in between read. You know, it's just like you pick it up, you read a little bit, and you put it down, you know.
Well, I mean, it truly is, like, I feel that, you know, beyond like the 19th century Russians, it is the American form. I mean, the Americans have truly revolutionized and polished the craft of short story writing. So my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I agree.
Great.
Except for Catherine Mansfield. She's a Brit and she gets to be in there too.
Yeah. I mean, we'll throw a bone. We'll throw a bone to a few.
Yeah.
All right, we got lightning round.
Okay. My lightning round pick is Speech Team, out tomorrow in hardcover by Tim Murphy. Sometimes books have, sometimes books are complicated and hard to describe, and sometimes they're very easy to get, and this is one of those. So it's about 4 Gen X friends who are now in their early 40s who were all on Speech Team. And they've all gone on with their lives. They're doing many different things. Then a friend of theirs commits suicide. And in the note, the person who commits suicide refers to their speech team teacher and something that was said to them that they have held on to all this time. And so one of these friends decides, you know what, that reminds me of that thing that I have not been able to let go that he said or did. And each of these people, now this was a very important teacher in their lives, formative, influential, and yet there's a pain that they carry around from something that he said. So they come up with the idea, let's get together. And we found out where you can now find out where everyone lives. He's retired in Florida. Let's go visit him and let's go on a road trip and visit him in Florida and tell him how we feel and see how, does he remember saying these things, these hurtful things? So it's about, so that's it. So it's breakfast, you know, it's got a little bit of Breakfast Club or Big Chill. It's got a lot of nostalgia for the 80s and 90s. It's just a great idea for a book, and he pulls it off. He's a really good writer. First time we've published him. And everybody has these teachers in their past. It's something we can all recognize, and hopefully we don't all have painful memories of that same teacher, like the good and the bad, but it's a very resonant idea, I think. Even if you were in speech team or not in speech team, we all have something from that time period, because that was so important to our lives. But yeah, things don't go as planned, I'll just say that. So Speech Team by Tim Murphy, on sale tomorrow. You can kind of see there they all are, Breakfast Clubby, and then in the background looms that figure who they can't quite shake.
Yeah. Ooh, so good.
Good.
I'm hoping that teachers aren't like that anymore. I'm hoping that like our generation, I mean, our
Yeah, I
kids
hope
don't
that's
have,
right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Have teachers that did those problems.
I know it. But at the same time, this teacher was great. Like, he was great. He taught them
Right.
so much. They learned, they learned so much. And
Right.
yet he couldn't help himself. But especially in that, maybe you're right. Back then you could say things that you shouldn't
Right.
have said, but you did.
I don't know.
I was talking about editors for the last book. And so this is the same editor as Matt Haig. And so we have a great Matt Haig quote. He says, ultimately, it's a book about growing up and how we do it. I'm a total newbie to the world of Speech Team, so it makes sense. But I love this book. So there you have it.
No, I think that's another good, just a good summer read.
Yeah, and it's kind of a quick read too. It flies by.
All right. Okay, Julia.
Okay, I have a cookbook, 50 Pies, 50 States. This is an immigrant's love letter to the United States through pie. So she grew up, she was born in Singapore, she grew up in Hong Kong and then moved to the States, and has lived kind of all over, went to the Savannah College of the Arts. I don't know if that's the actual name, but the Arts College in Savannah, and has sort of lived all over. And so she takes one pie per state, and I will.
Can we guess some?
Yes.
Let's go.
Guess
Georgia, peach.
Georgia is, oh shoot, let me get there. Georgia,
and I do need to know what Missouri is.
Okay. Georgia is sweet tea peach pie with pecan crumble. And Missouri is
I don't have a pie.
Ted Drew's inspired frozen custard pie with St. Louis gooey butter cake swirl.
Oh.
Yes. Music to my ears. I didn't think of that, but that's perfect. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I want the cookbook just for that. Anything with gooey butter cake, and it's like,
and that's both. It's taking two super famous things from St. Louis, Ted Drew's and gooey butter cake, and it's all over.
So Beth Doherty's on here, wants to know what Mississippi is. Some sort of wild rice pie. She wants to know what Minnesota is.
Okay, wait. Mississippi. We've got Mississippi is Mississippi mud pie, of course.
Minnesota.
And Minnesota is corn dog hot dish pie with savory funnel cake topping.
Wow. Holy cow.
And California, my home state, is artichoke pie with savory almond crumble and red wine reduction, which I think is pretty great.
Yeah. Although I guess it can be considered a pie. I want pie, I want sweet.
Yes, well, it's savory. There's sweet and savory pies.
Okay.
The Connecticut one is a snickerdoodle pie, which sounds amazing.
Oh yeah.
So there's a bunch of there's sweet and savory. Maryland has blue crab pie.
Oh, okay.
There's like all sorts of different fun. The Idaho one is mashed potato pie with hash brown crust and scalloped potato toppings. So
oh my just potato.
Right?
I love that.
So super fun. It's really pretty. It's got like beautiful
I love it.
photographs. I love the end sheets have like just slices of pie on them.
Great.
So just a really fun 50 pies, 50 states. Yep.
Very gifty, very gifty.
There's something about that one and Tom, yours, that has just like a theme thing going somewhere. Somebody has to have a holiday party and like merge those two.
Totally. Yeah,
Things.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
fun. And
100%.
probably bad for our health, but really
Oh,
fun.
so bad, but so, oh my God. I host Thanksgiving and sometimes we have like 25, 30 people. Sometimes we have 10, 12 people. I still make the same amount I make like, there's a pie per person and I make.
Well, it's really good. It's really good with coffee the next 5 days.
I just want a piece of every single pie that I liked. I want a piece of every single one. So I make all of them. I don't care how many people are there.
Good work.
So,
good work.
So yeah, so we have a tea time party. We'll do this in December.
Yes,
That's Dougherty's saying. Dougherty's cracking up though at the Minnesota, like, what the hell? Like, what was
Hot dish pie.
What was that? All right, Andrea, close us out. What do you got?
I wanted to talk about a kids book from Yosemite Conservancy. They do some great kids books. This is Fire Shapes the World. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous book about how fire has shaped our environment over the millennia. And it uses the latest information and scientific information about fires to just really inform like kids about how like the fire prone world that we're in right now, how it's not always been that way, but fire can be both creative and destructive, which I think is good for kids to know because it's a little scary right now. But look at these amazing, like, I just think that the illustrations are so great and vibrant. It discusses the cosmos and the fire in the cosmos, and how fires like really shaped up the early development of this planet. It talks about indigenous control of fire back before, especially like in North America before European settlers came, and how we stupidly ignored indigenous information and wisdom about how to control fires, and we're now working with native like experts to control fire and help shape like how fire can actually make our environments more healthy. And so it's for a picture book for kids. It like just, it covers the gamut. And I really like this book. I think it's an important book to help, just explain to kids how fire works and to assuage their fears really about it by giving them scientific tools to understand it in the long run. So yeah, just a great little book. Let me see.
Good illustrations. Really good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
And it's $17.99 hardcover, 34 pages. So ages 4 to 8. So.
Well, Steve Achinsky said he was going to come on here and he didn't, because I was hoping that he was going to talk about, and I'll talk about it just briefly since we're in lightning round here. I was hoping he was going to talk about this book called I think it's Kayla, might be Kayla. What's that, Tom?
I've been hearing about this book.
Okay, so I just started it. I'm only a few pages in, loving it, but I love my Irish authors. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of pre-warning there that I have a tendency to go that way. And the other thing that I love, he's a debut author, and we have to help debut authors as much as we possibly can. And so this is set in a small Irish town, 2 time periods, a group of kids in the early 2000s, and then like 20 years later, going back to the town because something happened to one of them, and this whole thing about what the secrets are of this. It's like catnip to me.
You're already drawn in, right?
Yeah, just like what I love about the Irish authors, and so if you're so inclined to want to pick up a debut, I think it's Kayla. I think he says, because I've been watching some of the stuff that he does. So I think he pronounces it Kayla. So,
And that's been on my, for when I get a chance, if I ever do, to read something not one of my books, that's
right.
definitely, because I have the same inclination.
Yeah.
I mean, a thriller, like a thriller too. That's,
well, I think it's a literary thriller. I think that
Yeah.
it's got the Irish just meat of the way that it's written, but it has this mystery thriller element to it that draws you into what, you know. So, you know me, I love my Sebastian Barrys and Colin McCanns and
yeah.
you name them.
You love
Okay, Tom, there was something going on in the chat. I'm not going to put you on the spot because I'll answer it to a certain extent. But because everybody kind of knows what's going on, I mean, we have people who follow the publishing world that follow us.
Yeah.
And so they just
That's the representative of Penguin Random House. So what's the
yeah. So they were just you know, basically you would do Steve okay. It's like, you know, that there were some big changes, and that's kind of to be expected these days in big companies. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I hate to think that, but certainly last week was a tough week, I'll say that. But on the sales side, we're all good. So that's good.
That's good. Okay. So that's what I think, that's what they wanted to get down to the net of that. The whys and what fors, none of us really know any of that.
Way above my pay grade for sure.
Yeah, that's a why, but know that they were concerned about you and Steve, and
nice.
there is a lot that, you know, because I think
we're all fun.
Yeah, and you know, we have lots of very in tune people that watch us here. So
well, and we're the human faces of this other large thing. So
right, of this big thing. And I mean, you guys usually, you know, you would come out to the stores and people would get this, but now it's on a more and they're saying they care about all of them. They care about all of
that's nice. Thank you so much. That's so nice to hear.
Everybody. So with that, happy reading. I can't wait. There's so many good books that are coming this fall. It's kind of mind-boggling. And I want to talk about all of them now, but I can't, or I won't, but I should, but whatever. But you all should look at, we all will, but y'all should look at our Warwick staff rec pages, because we do put the ones that we read so you can pre-order them there. So, you know, like Alice's book or you know, I think Aunt Patchett's book's coming out next week, but some of the ones, even, you know, some of the other ones that are coming later, we'll put them on our staff rec pages to pre-order. So anyways, with that, everybody have a good week. Happy reading, and we'll see y'all next Monday. Stay cool. Bye.
Bye.